Welcome to the Resilient Butterfly Podcast. My goal is to share inspiring stories of healing and recovery through many diverse approaches and models. Our guests bring incredible lived experiences, insights, and/or professional expertise, each with their own unique path. While we highlight and celebrate these stories, our intention is to inform, inspire, and demonstrate resilience and creativity. This podcast does not endorse any one approach. We believe there is more than one way to heal, and we're here to showcase the resilience and possibilities that exist. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Resilient Butterfly. I'm your host, Pam Feinberg-Rivkin, and today we're going through our series again with Steve Feldman, CEO of Feinberg Consulting, here to have a conversation with me in regard to addiction and family impact. So this series goes on from crisis to healing, and this is one of the situational series that comes up for us in regard to families reaching out. They don't know what to do. And if they don't know what to do, sometimes they don't reach out, and this is why we're doing this, so that we can get more people to understand what's available for you in times of crisis with addiction. And, sometimes you don't know when that crisis is because it's been going on for such a long time, and the crisis may be just because it's gone on for so long. So welcome, Steve.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So family impact on addiction, people really want to point the finger and say, this person needs some help, and they're just going to have to fall and hit rock bottom before they're willing to get help. What do you say to families like that?
So that rock bottom thing is something that we hear about all the time. And, we can play with it a little bit and say that there is a bottom that somebody has to hit, but there is the ability to raise that bottom. And the way that that bottom is raised is really being able to take a look at what is allowing the addiction, the behavior to continue. And there are things in many cases when it's looked at closely that family members are unknowingly allowing things to continue and are helping to, and I use that word, enable the addiction to continue.
So tell me more about the enable.
So, a lot of times families say, well, I love this person, I'll do anything for them. And really providing care and support for somebody in doing something for them that they could do for themselves is a really good way to look at it. And another way is healthy or unhealthy caregiving. The ability to really take a look at what somebody is capable and how they're really being robbed of their opportunity to hit that bottom sooner is based on the things that are really done around them. So it could be as innocent as paying for a phone bill or allowing things to go on in a home where somebody is living, that there's no real boundaries or consequences because the family's walking on eggshells. Mm-hmm. There is, making excuses for somebody, bailing somebody out of something over and over again. And as that continues, the bottom and rock bottom does get lower. Mm-hmm. And lower sometimes could be, ending their own death or hurting somebody else or, doing something that is not necessarily reversible.
Yeah, and I would have to say that rock bottom doesn't just affect the person, it affects everyone around them. So if their rock bottom is, one of the soft rock bottom, families may not think it's soft, but in the perspective of things, soft may be that they're arrested for DUI. That's kind of soft because no one's been hurt. They have something, they have a consequence. And I know that a lot of times families still don't do something when someone has a DUI. They're like, okay, it was situational. They just had this DUI. They drank too much. They won't do it again. And then it happens again, but this time they may have hurt themselves or someone else. So the bottom keeps going down and down and down.
Yeah, I think part of this, in looking at it deeply, one is there is a stigma. And the stigma of wanting to keep it covered up and not wanting anybody to know. Mm-hmm. And I think the other part of it is just so fear-based, is that if they, if the family does anything different than just, trying to get them to function in the day, that something bad could happen.
So one of the situations I think that we've encountered a lot is families of young adults that they said, well, they were on Adderall because they were diagnosed with ADHD and they need the Adderall. And this is one of the things that keep going. But they not only are using Adderall, they're using it in excess at this point. And they say if they can only go back to their regular prescription, and because they need that. And that's one of the things that I know that families have always, not always, but a lot of times have made excuses. Or they may even say, well, the marijuana just kind of helps them with their mood. And they need some help with their mood. So they're just taking a little bit of marijuana to get through the day.
Yeah, listen, it's coming out of, obviously, an uneducated place. People don't know what they don't know. And part of what we feel our job is to provide education to families on what really is involved. We hear it all the time about cannabis use, and cannabis and the potency of THC today is not what it was 20, 30, 40 years ago. And they, for certain young brains, it has got horrible consequences. The thing that happens where there is a cannabis-induced, psychotic kind of episode. And depending on how long somebody experiences that and on their particular brain chemistry, somebody may not return back to their normal function.
Sure.
And I just feel so passionate about providing information for people to really know, because best decisions are made from knowing, and poor decisions, unknowing poor decisions, are made from not having information. So there's a big part of this that is providing education.
Sure. And I know that as families listen to this, or the general public just listens to this, because sometimes they don't know when situations are going to arise in their family. They may know in their gut, I may need this service at some point, and they're still ruminating about what this may be and hoping that something will change and something will get better. And the natural progression of someone getting older, they'll
grow out of it.
They'll grow out of their hormones are going to change. They'll be able to get out of that. And when it doesn't, or when you recognize maybe it won't, you don't have to wait to have that phone call, because you can have that phone call to get more education and information in regard to what are you seeing? What are you seeing? And maybe you're not seeing everything. So getting, sometimes, as we do interventions, I know we put people around the table, family members around the table, and all of a sudden everyone's honest about what they've seen, where, well, I didn't know that. Well, I didn't know that. Maybe they did down deep in their heart, but they didn't really want to admit to it. But information comes out to know we're doing the right thing.
Well, and it also brings and joins a family together rather than being isolated. Because addiction wants to work in isolation. It wants to work in triangled relationships. It wants to work in a way that it's one-on-one, because one-on-one addiction has a better chance of continuing, and addiction, when it's faced with a team, is not going to win. And part of what we feel is really important is to bring people together for a common cause. And that common cause is to help their loved one. And we see such great results when people come together, the truth is told, there's an agreement on what it is that is wanting to be accomplished. Because when you bring families together to a table, there's a lot of things that families don't agree on, and there's a lot of baggage that potentially is there. That's not what getting somebody help is about. Mm-hmm. What getting somebody help is about is agreeing on what is it going to take to get the loved one mm-hmm. the kind of help that they need. And the rest of that stuff is not forgotten about, but it's not the priority right now. Right. And addiction has a way of diverting into all kinds of things that are not dealing with addiction.
Sure. Well, next week we'll have John Lieberman on, CEO of Malibu Vision's Adolescent Malibu Treatment, and he goes into depth in regard to the marijuana use and the dangers of marijuana use and other drugs that are out there as well. So look forward to that next week, as well as continuing on the series with us from Crisis to Healing. Thank you, Steve, for coming back again. Appreciate you. And stay tuned. FeinbergCare.com for the website, 248-538-5425. If you need just someone to talk with right now in regard to what may be happening, to get some more information in regard to what can be done. Thank you. Thank you for joining the conversation today. If you are seeking help for yourself or a loved one, please reach out to our Feinberg Consulting team at 248-538-5425. That's 248-538-5425, and check out our website at FeinbergCare.com. I'm grateful for our guests and all who have joined us today. Make sure you follow us on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere you listen to podcasts.